Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome. I am Jess. First and foremost, I hope I'm live. Give me a one in the chat box if you can see me and hear me just fine. This is our first time ever streaming on YouTube, and I just want to make sure things are working. All right. I'm so excited to have you here. So, if you are here because you are ready to build something very, very real. You don't want to be busy in business anymore. And that's really what we're going to dive into. What we're going to go over today in this live is not about tactics. It's actually about helping you stop second guessing what to build and give you a very clear picture of what you need to build. So, everyone that has been invited to this live wants to create some kind of program or course at some point. You've entered our world through talking about building a course or a program or digital product, but what I'm hearing as I'm talking to most of you is that you're kind of afraid of building the wrong thing. Now, if that resonates, I get it, right? I have watched incredibly capable women, and honestly, myself included, sit on ideas way longer than necessary. And not because we're not ready, not because we don't know what to do, not because we are like, oh my gosh, but because we don't actually trust the foundation of what it is we are building on, right? Now, I want you to listen today. I want you to notice which parts feel like they're talking directly to you. And then that's going to help tell you exactly where you need to start. Because while we're talking to some different people, some different backgrounds that people are coming into us from, we all have the same bottleneck, and let me kind of break this down for you, right? Like I started this business many years ago because I needed to be home for my family. I had a daughter on the spectrum who needed therapy, and I needed to show up for her in a way that I could support her in her therapy, be present. And I really didn't know what to do. So we actually started with network marketing. We invested a lot of money in network marketing. If you've done that, we're going to talk about that a little bit, right? Give me an MLM network marketing if you've done that in the chat box. But what happened was is I learned these skills, and I took these skills and I turned them into something marketable. I was like, I learned all of these skills and now I don't want to sell my friends and family. Can you relate? So what I did is I took what I learned and I turned it I'm sorry, I'm fixing my notes. I turned it into a marketing agency, and I went and picked up clients right away. I actually did done for you marketing for the longest time. When I got tired of that, I decided to burn it all to the ground and move into coaching. Now, don't get me wrong, I did start one to one coaching in that process, and that ate up a lot of my time. It ate up a lot of my bandwidth. I found that I was repeating the same things over and over and over again. And so, what I then did is switch into more of like a group coaching program. And that ended up making me way more money and giving me way more free time. Right. And so, that's really what we're going to dive into today, right? We are definitely going to dive into all of that today. So let's talk about you. Some of you are here. You've downloaded some of our freebies about moving out of one to one coaching. Some of you are already coaching one to one, and some of you are not. We're going to talk about those people next, right? But really and truly, when I talk to people who have been working one to one, they often tell me their calendar is almost full, that they have decent income, but they're strapped for time to make the income that they want. They're sitting on Zoom all day long with people. Their energy is stretched thin because they're repeating themselves over and over again, but they know they're getting their clients' results. And really and truly, I lived this. So while we were running the agency and I wanted to move into coaching, I created a one to one coaching offer, teaching people how to run an agency. And my calendar was full with those clients. And week after week, I was repeating myself again and again. And I spent more time on Zoom than I did with my daughter, who I was home with for therapy. Right. And it's not because I didn't love my kids, it's not because I didn't want to be present. I loved my work, but I also resented my work because I didn't want to keep going on every week, repeating myself again and again. And when I realized that that didn't fit my life anymore, it was time for me to make a change, right? when you're working with people, whether you are first getting started in coaching or you have been working one to one, you will find that things are going to come up. So an example here would be if you're working one to one, and I've talked to many people, we've had many clients, they feel like they're customizing absolutely everything, right? You feel like it's a unique process for G over here. It's a unique process for Jeanette over here. You feel like what you're doing is completely special to the person you're working with. You are constantly in people's heads all of the time, and they're honestly in yours. You're probably thinking about, oh, I should have told them this, or I could help with that. And what happens is when we start talking about moving to a course or a group program, you start to worry that your process is so unique because it's so individualized that you can't actually move it into a course or a program or digital product. And then you start to get nervous because you realize your income is capped by the number of hours you can work. And really and truly, like, I'm going to call it out what it is. Your income at this point is not capped because of your methods. Your income is actually capped by the number of hours and the number of people you can work with. In other words, your problem isn't necessarily demand. It's the structure of which you're coaching, teaching, training, building under, right? So that's kind of a piece there. Now, if you are maybe just getting started, I told you I started an MLM. I told you that, we built a program, like we took on agency clients and then we built a program out of it, right? The thing that I found in that process was I knew I could make money online. I had done it. I started with affiliate. After we moved out of MLM, we went into some affiliate marketing and we did freebie offers and I coached people how to make money at that, right? It was someone else's program. I was only getting a percentage. My income earning potential was so much more when I did it for myself. And so what I realized in that moment was I could make money online. It wasn't that hard. But I needed to finally build something that was mine, where I could really bring in the income, not a portion of the income. Give me a comment if this is kind of resonating with you right now, right? So when you are moving out of maybe MLM or you're just getting started in coaching, you really are trying to build something that's yours, where you can make the most income potential. And the thing is if you're coming out of MLM, if you're coming out of anything online that you've already done, you kind of already know how to sell. You've been doing it, right? You're comfortable talking to people. You've probably helped some others. If you're just getting started, maybe you are like, wow, I really want a digital product. I want a course. I want a program. And you're just getting started. You probably are sitting here going, yeah, everyone comes and talks to me about my meal planning. Everyone comes and talks to me about my scheduling. Everyone comes and talks to me about my budgeting. I have a friend who is a nurse. She's a registered nurse, right? And I'm here to tell you that she makes it known she's a registered nurse. And while we're at our kids' practice, everyone knows this. So they always go to her asking for, what is this? What should I do in this situation? My kid has this. What's going on? She can package that up and sell that all day long. It's what she's known for, right? So if you're just getting started, you really need to sit down and go, wow, there is this thing that I love to talk about. I love to do. And I just know that people will pay me for my help, right? And you're comfortable talking about it because you do it all the time. This is the thing people come and ask you about regularly. Even if you haven't done it in years, you still know how to talk about it, right? And so what happens here is if you are leaving MLM, network marketing, if you are just dabbling and getting started with building a digital product, a course, a program, a lot of smart women end up right here. And it's not because they think they cannot do it. It's because you really don't really know where to begin in the foundational piece to sell your own thing. You've been borrowing someone else's system. You've been borrowing someone else's products. You've been borrowing someone else's information to make a sliver of money, right? And then what I find when I'm talking to women, I had this conversation the other night at dinner with a fellow cheer mom. I've had it with actually several moms around the gym lately, is that you end up with too many ideas, right? You're like, I'm a multi-passionate woman who could do so many different things. How do I figure it out? Right. And really, like that's the first question. And the first thing that like I'm gonna give it to you. Like I'm not gonna like gatekeep right now. The first thing I'm gonna give you to ask yourself is if you were asked to do a quick training for 30 minutes and you had 5 minutes to prep, what could you talk about? No prep, on and on, that lights you up, that excites you, that you're like, yeah, I could do that. And I could fill all 30 minutes. That's your thing. Don't overthink it. Like, that's your thing. Then the conversation the other night morphed into, well, could I do a course? Could I do a membership? What if I want to do a club? No one would buy a club. I'm like, there's memberships for that. Then like she said something else ago, you sell this. And she's like, wow. So what happens is when you're starting out, you like first have to figure out your idea, which I just gave you the magic tip for figuring out your idea. Then what you is going to happen next is you're kind of like, oh wow, okay, I have my idea, but now how do I monetize it, right? Someone in the chat is saying schedules, routines, organization, meal planning. Yes, you could do a membership of meal planning while selling a course on organization, right? There's a lot of options here, right? So, but then what happens is, well, great. How do I get people into it? How do I get them to pay for it? How do I build it so that I can give them what they want easily? And what I run into is then the women I'm talking to fear wasting time again. They fear making the wrong decision. And what I told this mom the other night was you're only committing for 90 days. If you go down this path of this passionate thing that you love, we're asking you to commit for 90 days. If in that 90 days, like, oh my gosh, I can't do that, then we flip into the other thing. But we've got to put one foot in front of the other and start moving. Okay. And here's the thing, none of you that are here need motivation. You don't. You're motivated. You want to make money. You've got your back against the wall. You know exactly what you're wanting to do, whether it's quitting your job, whether it is helping people because that's your deeper purpose, whether it is that you want to be home with your kids more. You don't need the motivation. You have it. You need ownership. You need to know that you can make money at it. You need to know what it is exactly that you are giving them, right? Because the truth of the matter is, you don't need someone else's model. You need a way to take what you already know, your expertise, the thing that lights you up, and turn it into something that is structured and sellable, right? So here's what I find interesting. I just described two very different women, ones that have already been working with people, already selling something, and they're trading their time for their money, and it's not scalable. Then the ones who really want to get started, they're new to coaching, they know they want to make money, they know they want to go down this path. But both of these people, I've been both of them, are stuck for the exactly same reason. Okay. And what that is they know they're an expert. They know they have a thing. They're multi passionate. They know they can make money. They have a strong desire to do something to change the world, but they won't openly admit that it's the confidence that's missing for them. Confidence isn't something you can hype yourself into. Confidence is not something that you fake it till you make it. Your confidence is going to come from some clarity and some structure, right? Confidence comes, number one, from taking action, but number two, having a structure. So, what we do in order to have a structure so that you can go sell something is we have to create your signature system. A signature system is how your expertise moves from your head into a clear, repeatable system that people can go through again and again and again and get results. This is how you explain how you get someone to an outcome. This is what gives a potential person the confidence to buy. And this is what gives you the confidence to lead. Okay. When we don't have a signature system, we kind of fall into this ocean of everybody doing the same thing. That mom who's sitting at her kid's baseball game or soccer game or cheer gym or whatever extracurricular their kids are at, and the moms are asking you questions, they're asking you questions because you have a method that's living in your brain. Someone in the chat just, said schedules, routines, organization, and meal planning, right? So if you're really great at that, people are coming to you to ask you, how do you schedule your life with 7 kids? How do you meal plan and keep it under budget while traveling for competitive sports, right? They know you have the answer because you've been living and breathing it in real life, in real time, all day long, every day, and they see it, right? And so when you start talking to them, oh, well, I sit down and pick out our meals and I map out which food goes with which thing. And then I look at the budget and how I can repurpose potatoes 17 different ways. And now you're telling them this in the practice field or in the parent viewing lobby or where at work when they're asking you, how did you meal prep 17 grams of protein for your diet today? Right? When you start to do this, you're actually putting them through a method, right? And you're actually giving them the sauce. It doesn't feel like it because it's natural to you. And so when we have this signature method mapped out, you are creating a clear, repeatable system that people will get results from. And when you don't have this, this is where you kind of get stuck. This is where you start feeling like, oh my gosh, I don't know what I would sell. Oh my gosh, I don't know what I would do. Why would anyone pay me for that? It's just common knowledge. Why would anyone want to work with me on that? Why? I don't even know what I do, right? And so what happens is you start trying new things. You go back down the mindless scrolling of TikTok and looking at all the work from home opportunities. You go watch all the people saying, I made $7 million in 30 minutes by doing digital marketing. Okay. Right. And yes, I'm calling that out because if you're spending time around online, you kind of know that's BS, right? You're selling someone else's crap, plain and simple. Right. I'm just going to say it. Someone just said in the chat box, I think that a lot. This is common knowledge. Why would anyone pay me for that? Because, and let me kind of dive into that. Why would someone pay you for something that you think is common knowledge? Because to you, it's your innate zone of genius. It's what you do. You have solved this problem for yourself time and time again. You know exactly what to do. People don't have that same expertise. I cannot meal plan to save my life. I can't count protein to save my life. I am going to pay someone to meal plan and prep my life for me. Okay. It's not my zone of expertise. I don't like it. I don't love it. And I certainly don't have the time to invest in learning something new there. It's not that important to me. Right. But for people who have that and want that, if you have a child who has a food allergy and you need to prep all of their food to travel and you have all this expertise from that, well, the mom who's new to having a food allergy doesn't have that expertise. They want to shorten that learning curve. They don't want to accidentally give something wrong to their kid. They're in a hurry to save money and get their kid good food while they're traveling, right? You see what I mean? They don't have the expertise that you have, right? Just because you know it doesn't mean everyone else does. And that's the most magical piece to this, because when you finally operate in that zone of genius, it's not about finding the unique special diamond unicorn that's out there. It's about understanding that you have a skill set, you have a tool set, and now there are people who don't have that, and that's okay. You're going to help them get it, right? And that's where the magic in this happens. That's the permission you have to give yourself. And that's, what we do, right? When you understand that having a signature method, because you're a genius, you have this zone of genius. When you have a signature method, it becomes yours. Like you literally can distill down the things that you do to help someone get a result, right? And that's exactly why I built our signature method intensive. Okay. If you're ready to kind of move out of coaching of one-to-one and you're ready to build something more sustainable, or if you're building your first group program, then this is definitely for you, right? And here's why. What we're going to do is we're going to help focus on extracting your expertise. We're going to help you turn it into a named method. And then we want to design a system on the backside that's going to allow you to get the people working with you results, a promise. And it's going to actually work with your life and schedule versus the other way around, right? So let me bring this full circle for you. You popped on here today to kind of really learn about what you need to build to have a group program or a course or a digital product. And that really is your signature method, your signature system. And you're probably here because you're already coaching one to one and you're feeling capped, you're not making enough money, or you've made money before and you're like, Jess, I just really want to get started on something that's mine. You aren't lacking motivation, you aren't lacking confidence. You just haven't unlocked it yet, right? And what you know lives in your head. Again, you feel like it's customizable. You feel like you can only give it to people when they're talking to you, right? And when it stays there, it feels heavy. It feels like you don't know how you'd be able to help all of these people get to the promise that you're telling them that you can help them with. And when you flip that switch, your expertise becomes a methodology and it lives outside of you. And it's something that you're able to explain, it's something you're able to teach, and it's something you're able to repeat. Okay. Which is exactly what we help you with in this intensive. We're going to focus on extracting what already works, turning it into a clear, named method, designing a delivery system, whether it's a PDF, a workbook, a video series, a course, a program that supports real results so that you're feeling like you're really selling something worthwhile. And it's going to give you the foundation to everything else that you need to make your first 500 if you haven't made money like in this category before, to make 2,000 a month, 5,000 a month, $10,000 a month, right? Because really and truly, we need to focus in on one thing. One thing. We are solving one problem for one person. And when we dial in this power of one, you have one unique methodology and it works for everyone, which helps create less chaos. It makes what you're putting out into the world less confusing. It takes the pressure off of you and allows you to be able to talk freely about what it is that you do, which then means that whole zone of genius is the category you become known for, and it becomes the category of one, right? You are no longer in an ocean with a bunch of people doing the exact same thing. You are now having a named methodology, a system, and now every road that you start marketing with leads to it. Okay. Because if you've spent any time online, and I know it sounds really weird, but like even the mom I was talking to the other night, we were having a conversation. She was throwing out terms I didn't expect her to throw out. Webinar. So I'm going to do a webinar. So I'm going to do a funnel. And I'm like, I can't believe you know these terms. Like, because I never pictured her knowing those terms. Right. But it's not about getting into launching. It's not about how you're going to put more people in right away. It's not about funnels or webinars or content or doing more. It's about extracting a system, the power of one system that already works, turning it into one clear method. It's designing a delivery where people can pick and choose how they get to work with you that feels best for them, but still gets them a result. And this is the foundation to anything you're going to build. The power of one, the power of having this mapped out is the foundation. If you don't have this right, it's like building a house on sand. It's going to crumble. It's going to leave you constantly spinning your wheels. It's going to leave you looking for the very next thing, right? This is what's going to, this reverse engineering, for lack of a better word, is the thing that gives you the utmost clarity so that you can talk with confidence, so that you understand how you are uniquely you and how you can go out and really help people and make a difference. Because again, remember, just because it's easy for you does not mean it's knowledge that everyone else has, right? And so what's going to happen is in this intensive, you're going to get in on the ground level. We are kicking off our cohort on January 12th. So you'll come in, you'll have some lessons loaded, they'll be dropped every week. And you're going to be able to go through this and start extracting your methodology, start having a clear picture of what your method is. You're going to know exactly the promise of how you're going to help people. So it becomes an easy way to talk about it. You're going to have messaging kind of dialed in because you're going to know exactly what it is you do and how you help, right? And so, if this live has helped you see your situation a little more clearly, then this is your signal. Underneath this live will be a link for you to go ahead and click if you're ready to join us inside the Signature Method Intensive. Okay. If you're not ready yet, that's okay too. Because next week, I'm going to come back here at the same time and I'm going to show you how you take this method and we turn it into a digital product, a course, or a program, depending on where you're at. And I can't wait to see you inside.